Приветствую вас, друзья! We are about to embark on a captivating journey through the annals of time, exploring 10 pivotal moments that have shaped not only the destiny of Russia, but also left an indelible mark on the world stage. From the icy plains of the East to the bustling streets of Moscow and St. Petersburg, history has unfolded with a dramatic flair that continues to captivate and intrigue us to this day. In this series, we will delve deep into the heart of these historical turning points, examining the intricate tapestry of events, personalities, and consequences that have made Russia the enigmatic and influential nation it is today. Prepare to be amazed by tales of triumphs and tragedies, of revolutions and reforms, of wars and innovations that have not only defined a nation, but have also altered the course of human history. Buckle up, comrades, as we traverse the centuries and uncover the soul of this vast and fascinating nation. Prepare to be challenged, enlightened, and above all, entertained. Let us begin our journey. Our story begins amidst the vast expanse of the Eastern European plains, where a new power was emerging from the mists of time. In the 9th century, Viking traders, known as the Varangians, navigated the rivers of the East, establishing a trade route that connected Scandinavia to the Byzantine Empire. Among these intrepid explorers was a chieftain named Rurik, who, according to legend, was invited to rule the Slavic city of Novgorod in 862 AD. This pivotal event marked the birth of the Rurikid dynasty and the genesis of a new civilization. Rurik's successor, Oleg, a figure shrouded in both history and myth, expanded the nascent kingdom south, uniting Novgorod with the southern city of Kiev. This union gave rise to the mighty Kievan Rus', a sprawling realm that stretched from the Baltic Sea to the Black Sea. Kievan Rus', with its strategic location at the crossroads of trade routes, flourished as a center of commerce and culture. The adoption of Orthodox Christianity from Byzantium in 988 AD would have a profound and lasting impact on the spiritual and cultural identity of the East Slavic peoples. The magnificent city of Kiev, with its golden-domed churches and bustling marketplaces, became the cradle of Russian civilization, a testament to the power and influence of this early Slavic state. But as with all empires, the seeds of its decline were sown within its own success. Internal strife and external pressures would eventually weaken the once mighty Kievan Rus, paving the way for a new chapter in Russian history. The 13th century brought a new force to contend with on the Eurasian steppes. From the east, a tempest of horsemen, led by the legendary Genghis Khan, swept across the land, forging an empire the likes of which the world had never seen. In 1237, the Mongol hordes, under the command of Batu Khan, Genghis Khan's grandson, turned their sights on the divided principalities of Kiev and Rus'. The Mongol invasion was a cataclysmic event in Russian history, a period of widespread destruction and subjugation that left an enduring mark on the national psyche. Cities were sacked, populations decimated, and the once proud princes of Rus were forced to submit to the authority of the Mongol Khan. The Mongol Empire, known as the Golden Horde, exacted tribute from the Russian lands for over 2 centuries. Yet, amidst the devastation, a remarkable transformation was taking place. The Mongol conquest, while brutal, also exposed Russia to new ideas, technologies, and trade routes. The Russian princes, forced to adapt to the realities of Mongol rule, adopted new military tactics and administrative practices. The city of Moscow, once a minor trading post, rose to prominence under Mongol patronage, laying the foundation for its future dominance. The Mongol period, often portrayed as a dark age in Russian history, was a complex and multifaceted era. It was a time of profound upheaval and transformation, a crucible from which a new Russia, more resilient and more united, would eventually emerge. As the grip of the Mongol yoke began to weaken, a new power emerged from the heart of Russia. In 1613, after a period of turmoil and uncertainty known as the Time of Troubles, a young nobleman named Mikhail Romanov was elected Tsar by the Zemsky Sobor, an assembly of Russian nobles. This momentous event marked the beginning of the Romanov dynasty, a lineage that would rule Russia for the next 3 centuries. Under the Romanovs, Russia underwent a period of territorial expansion and consolidation of power. The vast expanse of Siberia was incorporated into the Russian Empire, stretching its borders to the Pacific Ocean. The Romanovs, determined to secure their hold on power, centralized the government and strengthened the military. The reign of Peter the Great, one of the most transformative figures in Russian history, ushered in an era of modernization and reform. Peter, inspired by the advancements of Western Europe, sought to transform Russia into a great European power. He built a new capital, the magnificent city of St. Petersburg, a window to the West that would symbolize Russia's new outlook on the world. The Romanov era was a time of both progress and contradiction. While Russia made significant strides in terms of its military and political might, the vast majority of its population, the peasantry, remained mired in serfdom, a form of feudalism that stifled social and economic mobility. It was this fundamental inequality that would eventually plant the seeds of revolution in the centuries to come. Chapter 4. Reformy Petra Velikova, or Peter the Great's reforms. Peter the Great, a towering figure in Russian history, ascended to the throne in 1682, inheriting a vast but backward empire. Driven by an insatiable curiosity and a burning desire to modernize his realm, Peter embarked on a series of radical reforms that would transform the face of Russia forever. Determined to bridge the technological and cultural gap between Russia and the West, Peter traveled incognito to Europe, working as a common shipwright to learn the secrets of shipbuilding and other Western technologies. Upon his return, he implemented sweeping changes in every aspect of Russian life. Peter modernized the army and created a powerful navy, transforming Russia into a formidable military power. He introduced Western fashions and etiquette to the Russian court, even decreeing that men shave their beards and adopt Western clothing. He reformed the government, establishing a senate and a system of administrative colleges to improve efficiency. Peter's most enduring legacy, however, was the founding of St. Petersburg in 1703. Built on a swamp at the mouth of the Neva River, St. Petersburg was a testament to Peter's ambition and his vision for a modern, outward-looking Russia. The city, with its grand palaces and canals, became a symbol of Russia's transformation and its emergence as a major player on the European stage. Chapter 5. Napoleonovsky Vojny, or the Napoleonic Wars. As the 19th century dawned, Europe found itself engulfed in the flames of revolution and war. The French Revolution, with its ideals of liberty, equality, and fraternity, had sent shockwaves across the continent, igniting the ambitions of a young Corsican general named Napoleon Bonaparte. Napoleon's meteoric rise to power and his subsequent conquests plunged Europe into a series of conflicts known as the Napoleonic Wars. Russia, under the reign of Tsar Alexander the Shersht, initially sought to maintain neutrality but was drawn into the conflict by Napoleon's growing ambitions. The clash between these two titans reached its climax in 1812, when Napoleon, at the head of a Grande Armée numbering over 600,000 men, invaded Russia. The invasion would prove to be a disastrous miscalculation. The Russian army, employing a scorched earth policy, retreated eastward, drawing Napoleon deeper and deeper into the vast Russian interior. The bitter Russian winter, coupled with constant harassment by Russian troops and partisan fighters, decimated Napoleon's army. The once mighty Grande Armée was reduced to a shadow of its former self, forced to retreat in defeat. The defeat of Napoleon in Russia marked a turning point in European history, shattering the myth of his invincibility and ultimately leading to his downfall. Chapter 6. Освобождение крестьян, or the Emancipation of the Serfs. The year 1861 marked a watershed moment in Russian history, a turning point that would forever alter the social and economic fabric of the nation. On March 3rd, after decades of debate and unrest, Tsar Alexander II signed the Emancipation Manifesto, freeing millions of Russian serfs from centuries of bondage. Serfdom, a form of feudalism that had been a cornerstone of the Russian economy for generations, had become an increasingly unsustainable and morally indefensible institution. The growing influence of liberal ideas, coupled with the economic inefficiency of serf labor, made its abolition inevitable. The Emancipation Manifesto, while a monumental act of social reform, was not without its complexities and challenges. Serfs, while granted their personal freedom, were required to purchase the land they had worked for generations, often at exorbitant prices. The transition from serfdom to a market-based economy proved to be a difficult and often tumultuous process. Despite its shortcomings, the emancipation of the serfs had a profound impact on Russian society. It paved the way for the growth of industry and the rise of a new urban working class. It also sowed the seeds of political and social change, as newly emancipated peasants demanded greater rights and representation. Chapter 7. The year 1917 would witness one of the most momentous upheavals in human history, an event that would topple empires, redraw the map of Europe, and inspire revolutionary movements across the globe. The Russian Revolution, born out of the chaos of World War I and the deep-seated social and economic inequalities of Tsarist Russia, would forever alter the course of the 20th century. In February 1917, a series of strikes and demonstrations in Petrograd, the capital of Russia, escalated into a full-blown revolution. Tsar Nicholas II, facing mounting pressure from both within and outside his government, was forced to abdicate, ending centuries of Romanov rule. A provisional government, composed of liberal and moderate socialist leaders, attempted to establish a democratic system in Russia. However, the provisional government was unable to address the fundamental issues that had plagued Russia for generations: land reform, economic inequality, and Russia's continued involvement in World War I. Into this power vacuum stepped Vladimir Lenin, leader of the Bolshevik Party, a radical socialist faction that promised peace, land, and bread. In October 1917, the Bolsheviks, led by Lenin and Leon Trotsky, staged a coup d'etat, seizing control of Petrograd and establishing the world's first communist state. The outbreak of World War II in 1939 plunged the world into its deadliest conflict, a global conflagration that would claim the lives of tens of millions and reshape the geopolitical landscape. For the Soviet Union, the war represented an existential struggle, a fight for survival against the Nazi war machine. In June 1941, Hitler, betraying his non-aggression pact with Stalin, launched Operation Barbarossa, a massive invasion of the Soviet Union. The invasion, the largest military operation in human history, caught the Soviets off guard, and the initial months of the war were marked by a series of devastating defeats. Despite early setbacks, the Soviet people rallied to defend their homeland, waging a scorched earth campaign against the invaders. The Battle of Moscow, a brutal 5-month struggle fought in the depths of winter, marked a turning point in the war. The Soviet victory shattered the myth of German invincibility and inflicted heavy losses on the Wehrmacht. The Eastern Front, stretching from the Arctic Circle to the Black Sea, became the crucible of World War II. The battles fought on this front were among the largest and most brutal in history, characterized by their ferocity, scale, and unimaginable human cost. The Soviet Union, at a staggering cost in lives and resources, played a pivotal role in the defeat of Nazi Germany. In the aftermath of World War II, a new kind of competition emerged between the two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union. The space race, a contest for supremacy in space exploration, became a symbol of the ideological and technological rivalry of the Cold War. On October 4, 1957, the Soviet Union stunned the world by launching Sputnik, the first artificial satellite to orbit the Earth. Sputnik's launch, a triumph of Soviet science and engineering, ignited the imagination of people around the world and ushered in the space age. The Soviet Union followed up Sputnik's success with a series of groundbreaking achievements. In 1961, Yuri Gagarin became the first human to journey into space, orbiting the Earth aboard Vostok 1. Valentina Tereshkova, in 1963, became the first woman in space, further cementing the Soviet Union's early dominance in the space race. The space race, while a competition between nations, also fostered a spirit of international cooperation. Scientists and engineers from both sides of the Iron Curtain shared knowledge and expertise, recognizing that the exploration of space was an endeavor that transcended political divisions. The year 1991 marked the end of an era, not only for Russia, but for the world. The Soviet Union, a global superpower that had once seemed invincible, collapsed under the weight of its own internal contradictions, bringing an end to the Cold War and ushering in a new world order. The seeds of the Soviet Union's demise were sown in the decades following World War II. A stagnant economy, stifled by bureaucratic inefficiency and a lack of innovation, struggled to keep pace with the West. The Soviet people, increasingly disillusioned with the Communist Party's grip on power, yearned for greater freedom and opportunity. Mikhail Gorbachev's rise to power in 1985 marked a turning point in Soviet history. Gorbachev, recognizing the need for reform, implemented policies of glasnost, or openness, and perestroika, or restructuring, hoping to revitalize the Soviet system. However, these reforms, while well-intentioned, ultimately hastened the Soviet Union's demise. On December 25, 1991, the Soviet flag was lowered for the last time over the Kremlin, marking the official dissolution of the Soviet Union. Russia, once a core republic of the Soviet Empire, emerged as an independent nation, facing the daunting task of forging a new identity and destiny in a rapidly changing world. Вот и подошло к концу наше путешествие сквозь века русской истории. Мы стали свидетелями взлетов и падений империй, революций, которые сотрясали мир, и моментов невероятного триумфа и трагедии. История России – это история стойкости, творчества и непреклонного духа. От образования Киевской Руси до распада Советского Союза эти 10 ключевых моментов сформировали Россию, какой мы ее знаем сегодня. Они напоминают нам о том, что история – это не просто сухие факты и даты, а живая ткань, сотканная из жизней и судеб миллионов людей. Спасибо, что присоединились ко мне в этом путешествии. Не забудьте поставить лайк, оставить комментарий и подписаться на канал, чтобы не пропустить новые интересные видео. До новых встреч!